The concrete is cold enough to burn. Maya Torres kneels in the darkness of a storage unit. She was paid $300 to empty her hands, shaking, not from the cold, but from what she's just found. A child's drawing, a billionaire's name, and a date that matches the exact year she lost everything. She's been homeless for 8 months, sleeping in her car, invisible to everyone. But inside Unit 247, surrounded by 15 years of carefully preserved secrets, she's about to make a choice that will change 2 lives forever. Some treasures aren't meant to be found. Some secrets destroy everyone who touches them. And Maya Torres has exactly 3 nights to decide what kind of person she really is. The concrete is cold enough to burn through Maya Torres's jeans, but she doesn't move, can't move. Her flashlight beam trembles across the child's drawing, the paper yellowed with age, but the colors still bright. Crayon strokes form 2 stick figures holding hands, a little girl and a tall man. Above them, wobbly letters spell Daddy and Me. Behind the figures, a building. Rectangular, industrial, with a number on the door, 247. Maya's breath catches. She knows this building. She's been sleeping outside it for 3 weeks. The drawing is taped inside a leather briefcase that probably cost more than her car. Everything in this storage unit costs more than her car. But it's the signature at the bottom that makes her hands shake. Love, Sophie, age 6. And the date, written in a child's careful print, 2010. 15 years ago, the exact year Maya lost everything. She sets down the flashlight, pulls a crumpled photograph from her jacket pocket with shaking fingers. Her daughter Lily, age 9, standing in front of this same storage facility. The day they'd come here looking for cheap units Maya could no longer afford. The year the medical bills started. The year everything fell apart. What are the odds? What are the odds that 2 families would collide at the same address, separated by time and tragedy? Her flashlight flickers. The unit smells like dust and expensive cologne and something else. Secrets kept too long. 3 days ago, she'd been desperate, sleeping in her Honda, watching luxury cars pull in and out of this facility's front gates while she shivered in the back lot. When Mr. Chen offered her $300 cash to clean out Unit 247, she'd said yes before he finished the sentence. Nobody's paid rent in 10 years, he'd said. Bank gave up looking for the owner. 3 nights, keep anything worthless, trash the rest. She'd thought she was cleaning out junk. Now she's kneeling in someone's preserved life, holding a drawing that mirrors her own loss. And the briefcase has 6 more items inside it. One of them is a USB drive labeled, "For Sophie, open on your 21st birthday." Maya's flashlight beam catches something else, taped to the inside of the briefcase lid. A news clipping, the headline visible even through 15 years of darkness. Billionaire Thomas Castellano vanishes, $2 billion investor disappears without trace. Some treasures aren't meant to be found. Some secrets are buried for a reason. And some names, when you finally hear them, change everything you thought you knew about luck, loss, and the thin line between the two. Maya rewinds 12 hours. Morning arrived the way it always did now, cold. The kind of cold that seeps through car windows and settles in your bones no matter how many blankets you pile on. She'd woken at 5:47 a.m. in the backlot of Chen's Storage Solutions, her breath fogging the Honda's windows. 3 weeks she'd been parking here. 3 weeks of watching the sunrise paint the facility's aluminum walls gold while she folded her sleeping bag with careful precision. Dignity lived in the small things now, the folded blanket, the trash bag she kept for garbage so she never left evidence of her existence. The way she brushed her teeth with bottled water, spitting into the gravel where no one would see. She'd been homeless for 8 months. Still couldn't say the word without her throat closing. Once she'd been Maya Torres, dental hygienist, mother, woman, with an apartment and a future. Now she was the invisible person in the parking lot, the one store security watched, the one other mothers pulled their children away from at the library. The medical bills had come like a flood after Lily's diagnosis. Leukemia didn't care that Maya's insurance had lifetime caps buried in fine print. Didn't care that experimental treatments cost more than most people made in 5 years. Lily had lasted 18 months. The bills lasted forever. Maya kept her daughter's photograph in her jacket pocket, creased from constant touching. Lily, at 9 years old, standing in front of a building Maya had driven to that day, looking for cheap storage. Before she knew she'd have to sell everything anyway. Before she knew cheap didn't matter when you had nothing left to store. The photograph showed this building, Chen's Storage Solutions, 2010. She'd recognized it the moment she started parking here 3 weeks ago. Some cosmic joke ending up back where the nightmare began. Mr. Chen had appeared at her window last Tuesday morning. She'd tensed, expecting him to tell her to move on. Everyone always did. Instead, he'd knocked gently. "You work?" he'd asked when she rolled down the window. Maya had nodded, wary. "I need someone to clean out a unit. Cash job, $300 for 3 nights' work." His accent was thick, his face weathered by decades. "Unit 247. Abandoned 10 years ago. Bank wants it emptied. $300. Gas money. Food that wasn't from dumpsters. Maybe a week in a cheap motel with a shower." "Why me?" she'd asked. Mr. Chen had shrugged. "I watch you every morning. You fold your blanket. You take your trash. You're careful with things." He'd looked at her directly then, and Maya saw something unexpected in his eyes. Respect. People who are careful with small things are careful with big things. Unit 247 has big things. She'd taken the job before he changed his mind. Now, 12 hours later, she's on her knees in Unit 247, holding a child's drawing and a news clipping about a vanished billionaire. And she's starting to understand what Mr. Chen meant by big things. Maya stands at the entrance of Unit 247, bolt cutters heavy in her hands. Mr. Chen had given her the new facility lock code, a flashlight, and work gloves that smelled like motor oil. "Take your time," he'd said. "Sort careful. Some people's whole lives end up in these boxes." She cuts through the lock the bank had placed. The metal snaps with a sound that echoes down the empty corridor. The door rolls up. Maya's flashlight beam cuts through darkness, and she stops breathing. This isn't abandoned. This is preserved. The unit is climate-controlled, the hum of the system barely audible. The air inside is cool and dry, like a museum. Everything sits on metal shelving units, organized with military precision. Clear plastic bins, stacked 4 high, each one labeled in neat handwriting. Kitchen, office, bedroom, personal, Sophie's things. And in the back corner, one bin that makes her pause. Do not open. Maya steps inside slowly, her sneakers quiet on the concrete. The labels are faded but legible, written by someone who'd planned to return, someone who'd cared enough to do this right. She starts with kitchen. Inside the bin, cookware, still wrapped in bubble wrap. Le Creuset, all clad, brands she'd seen in magazines when she used to have a kitchen. A receipt slips from the bubble wrap, $8,000 for pots and pans. The date, March 2009. Maya's hands shake slightly. Who spends $8,000 on cookware and then abandons it? She moves to the next bin, bedroom, designer sheets still in packaging. A child's nightlight shaped like a moon, the kind that projects stars on the ceiling. A woman's silk robe, navy blue, still holding the ghost of expensive perfume. Maya lifts the robe carefully, brings it to her nose. The scent is faint but unmistakable. Chanel. She'd worn it once, a sample from a department store, before Lily got sick. Before she learned that luxury was the first thing poverty took. Personal comes next. Photo albums wrapped in acid-free paper. Maya resists opening them. It feels too invasive, too much like reading someone's diary. But then she sees Sophie's things. The bin contains children's books, Goodnight Moon, Where the Wild Things Are. A pink backpack with a name tag dangling from the zipper, Sophie Castellano, age 6, Miss Anderson's class. Maya's chest tightens. Sophie, the girl from the drawing. She picks up the backpack, unzips it slowly. Inside, crayons, a pencil case shaped like a cat, a juice box holder with butterflies. The everyday artifacts of childhood, frozen in time. At the bottom, a composition notebook. Maya opens it to the first page. My name is Sophie. I am 6. My mom is in heaven. My dad says we're going on an adventure. The handwriting is careful, the letters large and uneven. A child trying her best. Maya closes the notebook, her throat tight. She knows this grief. The way children try to process loss with words too small for the pain. She sets the backpack down gently, like it might break. The do not open bin sits in the corner, a padlock securing it separately from the unit itself. The lock is expensive, combination style, not a standard storage facility lock. Whatever's inside, someone wanted it protected, even if the unit was breached. Maya approaches it, runs her fingers along the edge. The bin is heavier than the others, weighted down by something dense. She thinks about Mr. Chen's words, big things. But it's midnight now, and she's exhausted. Her back aches from bending, her fingers are numb from sorting. The cold concrete has seeped into her knees. She'll leave the locked bin for another night. Maya walks back to her car, the parking lot empty except for the security light casting long shadows. She eats a gas station sandwich, the bread stale, the lettuce wilted. It costs $2.47. She has $14.53 until Mr. Chen pays her. She thinks about Sophie's backpack, about the composition notebook, about a 6-year-old writing, "My mum is in heaven," in letters that wobbled with grief. Lily had been 9 when she died, old enough to understand what was happening, young enough to believe her mother could fix it. "Mom," she'd said 3 days before the end, "when I'm gone, will you be okay?" Maya had lied. "Of course, baby." She finishes the sandwich, wipes her hands on her jeans, and returns to Unit 247. Back inside, Maya opens the office bin. Business cards spill out. Castellano Industries, S. Private Equity, Thomas Castellano, Principal. A phone number that's probably disconnected, an address that's probably empty. Beneath the cards, folders. She opens one carefully. News clippings, yellowed with age. Castellano firm posts, record returns. The photo shows a man in his early 40s, dark hair, confident smile, shaking hands with someone in a suit. The date, April 2008. Another clipping, Billionaire investor champions children's cancer research. A photo of the same man, older now, standing beside a woman. The caption reads, Thomas Castellano and wife Elena at Street Jude's fundraiser. Elena is beautiful, dark hair, warm smile, eyes that look directly at the camera with intelligence and grace. Maya finds more clippings, piecing together a life. Thomas and Elena married in 2003. Sophie born in 2004. Elena diagnosed with cancer in 2009. Dead by 2010. The same year, Maya's photograph was taken outside this building. The same year, everything started falling apart. She finds a folder labeled Medical, her stomach knots before she opens it. Inside, hospital bracelets, treatment schedules, prescription receipts for Elena Castellano, oncology appointments at St. Vincent's Medical Center, the same hospital where Lily died. Maya's hands start shaking again. The coincidences are piling up, heavy as stones. Same year, same hospital, same disease, same ending. She finds a handwritten note tucked between the medical papers. Thomas's handwriting, she assumes. The ink is smudged in places, like tears had fallen on it. Sophie asked today when Mommy's coming home. How do I tell her never? Maya closes the folder, presses her palms against her eyes. She understands this man now. Intimately. Completely. She pulls out her phone, searches Thomas Castellano disappearance. Articles flood the screen. Billionaire investor vanishes. Castellano missing after fraud allegations. FBI investigates $2 billion firm after principal disappears. The dates? Late 2010, 15 years ago. But Mr. Chen said the unit had been abandoned for 10 years. Maya scrolls through articles, looking for answers. One catches her eye. Castellano storage units continue, auto payments, despite owner's disappearance. The article is from 2015, 5 years after Thomas vanished. Investigators discovered Castellano had set up automatic payments from an offshore trust for multiple storage units across 3 states. Payments continued for 5 years before the trust funds were exhausted. Maya does the math. Thomas disappeared in 2010. Payments stopped in 2015. The bank took over, tried to locate him, failed. Finally, this year, they'd given up and ordered the units cleared. 10 years since the bank took control. 15 years since Thomas vanished. But 5 years when this unit kept breathing, kept living, preserved by monthly payments from beyond. Someone had wanted these memories protected, had set up systems to outlast their own disappearance. It's 2 a.m. when Maya finds it. A waterproof case tucked behind the office bin, almost hidden. Inside, a laptop wrapped in protective foam, plugged into a small battery backup system. The backup is dead now, it's LED dark, but the laptop itself is protected, sealed away from moisture and time. Maya lifts it carefully. Recent model, even 15 years ago. Expensive. She carries it to her car, plugs it into her portable power adapter that runs off the cigarette lighter. The Honda's engine is running to keep the battery alive, heat finally flowing through the vents. The laptop boots slowly, the screen glowing blue in the darkness. Then, password protected. The hint reads, her first word. Maya tries the obvious. Mummy, wrong. Mama, wrong. Dada, wrong. She thinks about the photo albums she didn't open, the composition notebook, the backpack with Sophie's name. She remembers something, a caption on one of the news clippings, a photo of toddler Sophie. Sophie's first word, Mimi, her grandmother's name. Maya types, Mimi. The laptop unlocks. The desktop background is a photo of Thomas and Sophie on a beach, both laughing. Sophie, maybe 5 years old. Before Elena died. Before everything changed. The desktop has 3 folders. Journal entries. For Sophie, 21st birthday. Evidence. Maya's cursor hovers over journal entries. Mr. Chen's words echo, big things. She clicks. Maya sits in her car, engine idling, heat blowing weakly through the vents. The laptop screen casts blue light across her face. She opens journal entries. The folder contains hundreds of documents organized by date. The first entry is from January 2009. Elena's diagnosis came back today, stage 3. The doctor said 12 months, maybe 18 with treatment. Elena smiled and said, then we'll make them count. I don't know how she stays so strong. Sophie doesn't understand yet. How do I tell a 5-year-old that her mother is dying? Maya's vision blurs. She knows this story, lived this story. She scrolls through entries, watching Thomas's life unravel in real time. February 2009, started chemo today. Sophie asked why Mummy is so tired, told her Mummy is fighting dragons inside her body. Sophie made her a cape from a bedsheet. April 2009, bought the cookware Elena always wanted. She laughed, said we should save money for treatment. But what's money for, if not this? If not making her smile? August 2009, Sophie's birthday. Elena insisted on baking the cake herself, even though her hands shook. 6 candles. Sophie wished for Mommy to get better. Elena cried in the bathroom after. Maya stops reading, wipes her eyes. The dates march forward like a countdown. January 2010. Elena died this morning. 6:47 a.m. Sophie was asleep. I held Elena's hand and felt her slip away. The last thing she said was, "Take care of our girl. I don't know how to do this without her." The entry ends there. No more words for a month. The next entry is dated February 2010, and the handwriting in the scanned image looks shaky, barely controlled. Sophie asked today when Mommy's coming home. I told her Mommy lives in the stars now. She said she wants to go to the stars too. I can't stop shaking. March 2010. Sold the house. Sophie cried, said Mommy's memories live in the walls. How do I explain that memories come with us? That I can't walk through those rooms anymore without seeing Elena everywhere? Maya looks up from the screen, stares through the windshield at Unit 247's closed door. The storage unit isn't abandoned, it's a preserved home. The house Thomas couldn't bear to live in, but couldn't bear to destroy. She keeps reading. April 2010. Problems at the firm. Marcus Webb, my business partner, has been making unauthorized trades, high-risk positions with client money, pension funds, retirement accounts. He's gambling to cover previous losses. Maya's attention sharpens. This is new. This is where the story turns. Confronted Marcus today. He laughed. Said, if I expose him, he'll expose me. Claims he's created a paper trail that makes me look guilty. Bank records, emails, all pointing to me as the architect of the fraud. May 2010. I've been trying to gather evidence, but Marcus is careful, covers his tracks. I have some documentation, recorded calls, but not enough to prove my innocence. A lawyer says if this goes public, I'll be the one arrested. Marcus has positioned everything perfectly. June 2010. Sophie had nightmares again, screaming for her mother. I held her until she fell back asleep, but my mind was racing. If I go to prison, Sophie goes into foster care. Elena's sister already said, no, she can't handle a grieving child. My parents are dead. There's no one. Maya's chest tightens. She knows what's coming. July 2010. I've made my decision. Sophie needs her father more than the world needs. Another whistleblower who'll end up in prison anyway. Marcus wins. But Sophie keeps me. August 2010. I'm liquidating everything. Quietly, converting assets to offshore accounts. Setting up trust payments for the storage units. I'm preserving our life here. Everything Elena touched. Everything Sophie might want someday when she's old enough to understand. September 2010. Marcus will get away with it. He'll destroy those families' retirement funds, and I'll be the one blamed. But I've hidden evidence, everything I could gather. Someday, when the statute of limitations passes, Sophie can decide what to do with it. October 2010. Tomorrow we disappear. I've arranged new identities, John and Sarah Miller. Sophie doesn't understand why. I told her we're going on an adventure, like the ones Mommy used to read about. She packed her backpack with crayons and books. The final entry is dated the 15th of October 2010. This is the last time I'll write as Thomas Castellano. Tomorrow, I'm John Miller, single father, no history. I've left the storage unit key in Elena's locket, the one Sophie will inherit on her 21st birthday. By then, she'll be old enough to understand, old enough to forgive me, I hope. The combination to the locked bin is her birth date, the 17th of August, 2004. Inside is everything she'll need, money, documents, truth. If you're reading this, Sophie, I'm sorry. For the lies, for the childhood you deserved but didn't get. But I'd make the same choice again. You needed a father more than you needed a martyr. I love you forever, Dad. Maya sits frozen, the laptop screen dimming in her lap. Sophie's birthday, the 17th of August, 2004. The locked bins combination. Maya doesn't sleep. Can't sleep. She watches the sun rise over the storage facility, pink light turning the aluminum walls orange. Her phone says 6:23 a.m. She's due back at Unit 247 tonight, but she can't wait. At 7 a.m., Mr. Chen arrives to open the office. Maya meets him at his car. Can I work during the day? She asks. I can't sleep anyway. Mr. Chen studies her face. You finding things? Stories, Maya says carefully. A lot of stories. He nods slowly. Stories are heavier than furniture sometimes. He hands her the gate code. Work whenever you want. Just be careful. Maya returns to Unit 247 as morning light slants through the facility's skylights. She goes straight to the locked bin. Her hands shake as she spins the combination lock. The 17th of August, 2004. The lock clicks open. Inside, the bin is divided into sections with foam dividers, organized like a safe deposit box. The first section contains leather-bound journals. Thomas's private thoughts, too raw even for the laptop. Maya opens one at random. June 2012. Saw Sophie today at the grocery store. Didn't approach. She's 8 now, tall like Elena. She was laughing with a friend, buying ice cream. Her foster mother seems kind. I stood 3 aisles over and watched my daughter live a life without me. Maya's throat closes. Thomas had been watching, following from a distance, protecting from the shadows. She finds more entries, scattered through years. September 2015, Sophie's first day of middle school. I waited outside, watched her walk in. She looked nervous. I wanted to hug her, tell her she'd be fine. But John Miller has no daughter. Thomas Castellano's daughter doesn't exist anymore. March 2018. The storage payments stopped today. The trust ran dry. I couldn't keep them going without exposing myself. I'm sorry, Sophie. I hope you find it before they auction everything off. The second section contains a fireproof, safe, small but heavy. It's not locked. Thomas had wanted Sophie to open it easily. Inside, legal documents in sealed envelopes, each labelled with an age. Open at 18, trust fund information. 2. Open at 21, your real identity. Open at 25, business inheritance papers. Maya's hands hover over the 21 envelope. Sophie is 21 now, should be 21. This was meant for her, only for her. But Maya needs to know what Sophie is inheriting, needs to understand the full picture. She opens the envelope carefully, like defusing a bomb. Inside, a letter in Thomas's handwriting and a set of documents. My dearest Sophie, if you're reading this, you're 21 and have finally received your mother's locket with the storage key. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're happy. I hope the life I gave you was better than the one I took away. I'm sorry for the lies. Sorry you grew up thinking your father abandoned you, but I couldn't let you grow up as the daughter of a convicted thief. I couldn't let you carry that shame. Marcus Webb stole $400 million from pension funds. He framed me perfectly. I could have fought, could have hired lawyers, and dragged both of us through investigations. But you were 6. You'd just lost your mother. You needed stability, not a father in prison and a media circus. So I chose you, over justice, over truth, over everything. I've left you money, $4.7 million in offshore accounts. Instructions for access are attached. The lawyer I've retained will verify your identity through DNA testing. By now, the statute of limitations has passed. Webb is untouchable legally, but you're free to reclaim your name if you choose. In the bin's third section, you'll find evidence. Everything I gathered against Webb, recorded calls, bank records, transaction logs. It won't put him in prison too late for that. But it will clear my name, prove I was innocent. You don't have to do anything with it. You can destroy it, forget it, move on with your life as Sophie Miller. Or you can expose the truth. Either way, I love you. I'm proud of you. And I hope someday you'll understand why I had to disappear. Forever yours, Dad. Maya's hands shake so hard the letter rattles. $4.7 million. Evidence against Webb. A daughter who has no idea any of this exists. She looks at the third section of the bin. Inside, hard drives, folders stuffed with documents, USB drives labelled with dates, years of collected evidence. Thomas hadn't just run. He'd built a case, then buried it, hoping Sophie would someday be brave enough to finish what he started. Maya sits on the concrete floor, surrounded by the pieces of Thomas's sacrifice. The math is simple. The unit contains maybe $30,000 in sellable items. The cookware, the designer goods, the furniture. Sophie is inheriting $4.7 million she doesn't know about. She doesn't need the physical items. She has millions coming. Maya has $14.53. A broken car. A storage facility, parking lot, for a home. No one knows she found this. Mr. Chen thinks she's just sorting junk. She could take the valuable items, sell them quietly, use the money to rebuild her life. Sophie would inherit the millions from the lawyer, never knowing about the storage unit, never knowing about these small treasures her father preserved. Would that be stealing? Or would that be accepting the universe's strange gift? But Maya looks at Sophie's backpack, at the composition notebook, at the journals where Thomas poured out his grief. She thinks about Lily, about how she would have treasured any scrap of her mother's handwriting, any piece of evidence that she'd been loved. Money isn't memory. Sophie might have millions coming, but she doesn't have her father's journals, doesn't have proof that he loved her enough to sacrifice everything. Maya picks up the letter again, reads the final line. I hope someday you'll understand why I had to disappear. Thomas had faith. Faith that Sophie would find this. Faith that she'd understand. Could Maya really betray that faith for $30,000? Her phone buzzes. A text from a pawn shop she'd contacted about the Le Creuset cookware. Interested. Can offer $6,000 cash. Come by any time. $6,000. Enough to get stable, to get off the streets, to stop sleeping in her car. All she has to do is betray a dead man's love for his daughter. Maya sits in Unit 247 until the afternoon light fades, trying to decide what kind of person she wants to be. She's loading the cookware into her car just to test, she tells herself, just to see what it feels like when Mr. Chen appears. Maya. She freezes, hands full of expensive pots. Mr. Chen's face is unreadable. Someone here to see you. Who? Says her name is Dr. Patricia Hernandez. Says she was Thomas Castellano's therapist. Says she's been looking for whoever opened Unit 247. Maya's blood runs cold. She's in my office, Mr. Chen says quietly, waiting. He walks away, and Maya stands holding $8,000 in cookware, wondering if she's about to lose everything she hasn't decided whether to keep. Dr. Patricia Hernandez is in her early 60s, grey hair pulled into a neat bun, wearing a cardigan that looks expensive but worn. Her eyes are kind, but there's something haunted behind them. She stands when Maya enters Mr. Chen's small office. Miss Torres, I'm Dr. Hernandez. I was Thomas Castellano's therapist from 2009 to 2010. Maya stays near the door, arms crossed. How did you find me? I've had alerts set on this storage facility for years. When the bank finally moved to clear the unit, I knew someone would discover what Thomas left behind. She gestures to the empty chair. Please, I'm not here to cause problems. Maya sits slowly, every muscle tense. Dr. Hernandez pulls out an old photograph, slides it across the desk. Thomas and Sophie on a beach, the same photo that was on the laptop desktop. He showed me this picture every session, talked about her constantly, his whole world. You shouldn't be telling me this, Maya says. Patient confidentiality. I'm retired, and I've spent 15 years carrying a secret that's destroyed me, doctor. Hernandez's voice cracks slightly. I failed him. I should have seen he was planning to disappear. Should have stopped him. Hernandez. You couldn't have stopped him, Maya says quietly. He was protecting his daughter. Dr. Hernandez looks up sharply. You read the journals. All of them. You. Then you know about Sophie, about what Thomas wanted her to have. Maya nods carefully, still not sure where this is going. Dr. Hernandez leans forward. Thomas made me promise something. If anything happened to him, I was supposed to make sure Sophie received her mother's locket on her 21st birthday. He gave it to me before he disappeared. Maya's heart starts racing. Did you? 3 months ago, I tracked Sophie through foster records, found her at Portland State University, delivered the locket anonymously with a note saying it was from a family friend. Does she know? About the storage unit? About her real identity? Dr. Hernandez shakes her head. The note just said the locket was precious. I didn't mention the key attached to it. I thought she'd figure it out naturally. That curiosity would lead her here. But it didn't. No. Dr. Hernandez looks down at her hands. I've been watching from a distance. She wore the locket for a while, then stopped. I don't think she ever examined it closely enough to notice the storage key. Maya processes this. Sophie has the key, but doesn't know what it opens. And in 3 months, she hasn't come looking. Why are you telling me this? Maya asks. Because I think we should find her together. Explain everything. Give her what her father wanted her to have. They meet Sophie 2 days later at a coffee shop near Portland State's campus. Dr. Hernandez had called ahead, explained she was a family friend with information about Sophie's late father. Sophie had agreed, cautiously. Maya sits at a corner table, watching the door. Dr. Hernandez beside her, fingers drumming nervously on her coffee cup. When Sophie walks in, Maya's breath catches. She has Elena's eyes, Thomas's careful way of moving. She's wearing the locket, Maya notices. Silver chain, heart-shaped pendant. Sophie slides into the booth across from them, guarded. Dr. Hernandez? We spoke on the phone. Yes. Thank you for meeting us. This is Maya Torres. She's helping me with something important. Sophie's eyes flick to Maya, taking in the thrift store jacket, the worn jeans, the exhaustion that comes from sleeping in cars. Her expression softens slightly. Recognition of shared struggle. You said you had information about my father. Dr. Hernandez takes a breath. Your father was Thomas Castellano. I was his therapist after your mother died. Sophie's face goes carefully blank. I know who my father was. Maya and Dr. Hernandez exchange glances. That wasn't the reaction they expected. You know? Dr. Hernandez asks. I did research when I turned 18. Sophie's voice is cold now. Found the news stories. My father was a thief who stole from pension funds, who destroyed people's lives and ran away with their money. No, Maya says quickly. That's not what happened. Sophie's laugh is bitter. Really? Because the FBI seemed pretty convinced. So did the investors who lost everything. Some of them killed themselves. Did you know that? The coffee shop suddenly feels too small, too hot. Your father was framed, Dr. Hernandez says. He was trying to stop the fraud, not commit it. That's a nice story. Sophie stands abruptly. But I've spent 15 years being the daughter of Thomas Castellano. Do you know what that's like? Growing up in foster care while everyone whispers that your dad was a criminal. Sophie, please. I changed my name legally. Sophie Miller. That's who I am now. Not Sophie Castellano. Never again. She pulls the locket from her neck, sets it on the table with a sharp click. I only wore this because the note said it was from a family friend. If it's from him, I don't want it. Sophie walks out. The locket sits between them, heart-shaped and heavy with 15 years of waiting. Maya sits in her car in the coffee shop parking lot, the locket on the passenger seat. Dr. Hernandez had left in tears, devastated. I thought I was giving her closure. I thought she'd want to know the truth. But Sophie doesn't want truth. She wants peace. And truth costs too much. Maya picks up the locket, examines it closely for the first time. The back has an engraving, "To my girls, forever, T." The storage key is attached to the chain, so small Sophie probably never noticed it. Or maybe she had, but thought it was just decoration. Maya sits there as the sun sets, trying to decide what to do. The easy answer is gone. Sophie has rejected her inheritance, doesn't want the storage unit, doesn't want the memories, doesn't want anything to do with Thomas Castellano. Which means the items in Unit 247 are truly abandoned now. No one is coming for them. No one except Maya. That night, Maya returns to the storage facility. Mr. Chen is gone for the day. The facility is quiet, just security lights and shadows. She stands in Unit 247, surrounded by boxes that represent a life Sophie has rejected. The cookware sits in her car, $6,000, waiting. The designer goods, the furniture, the valuable items, another $24,000, probably. $30,000 total. Enough to get an apartment, a reliable car, stability for the first time in 8 months. And Sophie doesn't want any of it. Thomas set this up for a daughter who hates his memory, who changed her name to escape his legacy, who wouldn't take these items if Maya gift-wrapped them. Is it really stealing if the person they belong to has explicitly rejected them? Maya pulls out her phone, opens the pawn shop's text message. Her finger hovers over reply. All she has to do is type yes, but she thinks about Lily, about how angry she'd been in those final days. Angry at the cancer, angry at Maya for not fixing it, angry at a world that would let a 9-year-old die. I hate you, Lily had said once, pain medication making her cruel. I hate everyone. Maya had sat beside her bed and taken it, because she understood, because grief makes us hate the people we love most. Sophie is angry, at Thomas, at the world, at the legacy she inherited. But anger isn't forever. Maya had been angry at Lily for dying, for leaving her alone with debt and grief, and a life that felt too heavy to carry. It took months before the anger faded enough to remember the love underneath. What if Sophie's anger fades too? What if someday, years from now, she wants to understand, wants to know why her father disappeared, wants proof that she was loved? And what if, by then, Maya has sold everything? Maya makes her decision. She'll sell enough to survive, just enough. The cookware, maybe some of the designer items, things Sophie wouldn't miss because she doesn't know they exist. But she'll keep the journals, the photos, the laptop, the evidence against Webb, the things that matter. It's a compromise, survival and honor, taking what she needs while protecting what matters most. She feels good about this decision, righteous even. She starts loading items into her car. The cookware is already there. She adds the silk robe, still holding Elena's perfume. Some of the designer sheets, still in packaging. Items with value but no emotional weight. She's carrying a box to her car when she hears the engine. A black Mercedes pulls into the parking lot, headlights sweeping across the facility. Maya freezes. The car parks beside hers. A man gets out, late 50s, expensive suit, confident walk. He smiles when he sees her. The smile doesn't reach his eyes. Miss Torres? I've been looking for you. My name is Marcus Webb. Maya's blood turns to ice. Marcus Webb, the man who framed Thomas, the man who destroyed hundreds of families, the man who's supposed to be untouchable. I understand you've come into possession of items from Thomas Castellano's storage unit, Webb says, voice smooth as silk. Items that belong to me. Nothing here belongs to you. Oh, but it does. He steps closer. You see, Thomas took something when he disappeared. Evidence. Documents that could be problematic for me if they surfaced. The statute of limitations has passed. You can't be prosecuted. Webb's smile widens. You've been doing your research. Smart. But prosecution isn't my concern. Reputation is. I manage $5 billion in assets now. If evidence of old indiscretion surfaces, my clients tend to get nervous. He pulls out a check, holds it up so Maya can see. $100,000, made out to Maya Torres. Clean out the unit. Bring me any documents, hard drives, or evidence you find. Keep everything else. Sell it, burn it, I don't care. Maya stares at the check. More money than she's ever seen. What if I say no? Webb's smile disappears. Then I make some calls. You're living in your car illegally, working cash jobs off the books. I can make your difficult life impossible. He leans in close, voice dropping to a whisper. Or I can make it comfortable. Your choice. 48 hours, Miss Torres. Think carefully. He gets back in his Mercedes and drives away, leaving Maya standing in the parking lot with a box of stolen silk sheets and a check for $100,000. And the terrible knowledge that this was never about choosing between survival and honor. It was always about whether she'd protect a truth that Sophie doesn't want, from a villain who'll destroy her if she tries. Maya sits on the concrete outside Unit 247, head in her hands. The check is in her pocket, heavy as a stone. $100,000 to give Webb the evidence and walk away. Or nothing, except the certainty that he'll come after her if she refuses. Sophie doesn't want her father's legacy, doesn't want the truth, has spent 15 years building a life separate from the Castellano name. Exposing Webb would drag her back into it. Media attention, investigations, her face on the news as daughter of whistleblower Thomas Castellano. Everything Sophie ran from, forced back on her. Is protecting a truth that no one wants worth destroying the fragile stability Maya's barely built? Is it worth destroying the life Sophie's carefully constructed away from her father's shadow? Maya pulls out her phone, looks at the pawnshop text one more time. Then she looks at Webb's check. Then she looks at Unit 247's open door, at Thomas's carefully preserved love-gathering dust. And she realizes she doesn't know what the right answer is anymore. The only thing she knows for certain is that by tomorrow she has to choose. And whatever she chooses, someone loses everything. Maya doesn't sleep for 2 days. She sits in her car outside Unit 247, Webb's check burning in her pocket, watching the hours tick down. 48 hours to decide between $100,000 and a truth nobody wants. She reads Thomas's journals again, studies the evidence against Webb, looks at Sophie's childhood drawings until her eyes blur. And she keeps coming back to one question. What would Thomas do? But she knows the answer. Thomas sacrificed everything for his daughter's future. Chose silence over justice. Chose Sophie's peace over his own vindication. Maya should do the same. Give Webb the evidence. Take the money. Let Sophie keep the life she's built, away from the Castellano name. It's what Thomas would have wanted. Isn't it? On the morning of the third day, Maya hears footsteps outside her car. She jerks awake, hand instinctively reaching for the pepper spray she keeps under the seat. But it's not Webb. It's Sophie. She's standing in the parking lot, wearing jeans and a Portland State sweatshirt, holding a coffee cup in each hand. Her eyes are red, like she hasn't slept either. Maya rolls down the window. Dr. Hernandez told me where to find you, Sophie says quietly. She offers one of the coffees through the window. Can we talk? They sit on the curb outside the storage facility as the sun rises, painting the aluminum walls gold. Sophie stares at her coffee. I've been angry at him for 15 years. It was easier than missing him. Maya waits, lets her talk. After my mom died, I was 6. I remember him tucking me in every night, promising we'd be okay. Then one day, he just wasn't there anymore. Sophie's voice cracks. Foster homes told me he was a criminal, that I was better off without him. I believed them because believing he abandoned me hurt less than believing something worse happened. I'm sorry, Maya says softly. I did research when I turned 18, found the news stories, the fraud allegations, everything, and I decided to hate him, to be angry instead of sad. Sophie wipes her eyes. I changed my name legally, became Sophie Miller, someone with no history, no shame. She pulls out her phone, shows Maya something. But yesterday, after I walked out of that coffee shop, I couldn't stop thinking about what you said, that he was framed, that he was protecting me. The phone screen shows a search history, hours of research, articles Maya has already read, but Sophie is seeing for the first time with new eyes. I found interviews with the pension fund victims, people whose retirement he supposedly stole. Sophie scrolls through pages. But half of them say they got their money back, that there was a settlement from Webb's assets years later. Maya sits up straighter. What? Webb got caught in 2018. Different fraud scheme, different investors. The FBI finally nailed him. Part of his plea deal was restitution for his previous victims. Sophie looks at Maya. Including the people from my father's firm. Maya's mind races. Webb got caught. How did she miss this? Sophie continues. The articles say Webb admitted in his plea that he'd been operating the fraud alone for years. That Thomas Castellano had tried to stop him in 2010, but Webb had framed him to prevent exposure. Your father was exonerated. Posthumously, the FBI declared him dead in 2018, since he'd been missing 8 years. They cleared his name as part of Webb's conviction. Sophie's hands shake around her coffee cup. My father died innocent, and I spent the last 7 years hating him anyway. There's something you need to know, Maya says. She tells Sophie everything. The storage unit, the journals, the laptop, the evidence Thomas collected, the money waiting in offshore accounts. Sophie listens without interrupting, tears streaming down her face. Your father didn't die, Maya finishes. At least, not in 2010. He's been alive all this time, watching you from a distance. The journals go up to 2018. He saw you graduate middle school, start high school. He was there, Sophie, just hidden. Sophie breaks down then, the coffee cup falling from her hands. Maya holds her while she sobs, this stranger who suddenly feels like family. I have something for you, Maya says when Sophie can breathe again. She retrieves the laptop from her car, opens Thomas's final video file. The one dated March 2018, right before the storage payments stopped. Sophie's hands shake as Maya presses play. Thomas Castellano fills the screen, older than in the photos, greyer, thinner, but his eyes are the same, warm, tired, full of love. Sophie, he begins, voice rough. If you're watching this, you've found the storage unit. I'm glad. I've been waiting for you. Sophie makes a sound like a wounded animal. Thomas continues. I'm sick. The doctors say 6 months, maybe less. Lung cancer. Ironic, since I never smoked. But I've had 15 good years watching you grow into an amazing woman. More than I deserved. I know you probably hate me. You should. I left you alone. I let you think I was a criminal. I let you carry that shame. His eyes fill with tears. But Sophie, I need you to know. Webb got caught. The FBI is finally investigating him for real this time. My name will be cleared soon. By the time you see this, the world will know I was innocent. But that doesn't erase what I put you through. The childhood I stole, the father you deserved but didn't have. He takes a shaky breath. In the storage unit, I've left everything. Evidence, if you want to use it. Money, if you need it. But mostly, I've left proof. Proof that you were loved, that your mother and I would have given anything for you. You don't have to forgive me. You don't have to take any of this. You can walk away and never look back. But know that I loved you every single day. From the moment you were born until the moment I die. And I'm sorry for everything. Forgive me if you can. If you can't, I understand. His image freezes, the last frame showing a man who sacrificed everything and died anyway, hoping his daughter would someday understand. Sophie stares at the screen, sobbing. Maya waits, giving her space. Finally, Sophie whispers, "When did he die?" The journals end in March 2018. The storage payments stopped in April. Maya's voice is gentle. I think he died before Webb was convicted, before his name was cleared. He never knew people would finally believe him. Sophie's face crumples. He died thinking I hated him, thinking the world thought he was a criminal. He died knowing he protected you, Maya corrects softly. That was enough for him. Sophie wipes her eyes, suddenly focused. You said there's money? In offshore accounts? Maya nods. 4.7 million. Instructions in the storage unit. And evidence against Webb? Oh, everything, though he's already in prison from the 2018 conviction. Sophie stands abruptly, something shifting in her expression. Show me. They enter Unit 247 together, the morning light slanting through the door. Sophie moves through her preserved childhood like a sleepwalker, touching her mother's robe, picking up her old backpack, reading her 6-year-old handwriting in the composition notebook. Then she opens the evidence files. Maya watches as Sophie reads, her expression changing from grief to anger to something harder. Determined. Webb got 8 years, Sophie says finally. He's serving them at a minimum security prison. He'll be out in 3. I know. And his firm? The one he built after my father disappeared? Still operating, 5 billion in assets. His son runs it now. Sophie's jaw tightens. So Webb destroys my father's life, frames him for fraud, and his legacy continues anyway. His family keeps the money, keeps the reputation. Quite indifferent. The statute of limitations doesn't apply to civil suits, Sophie interrupts. She looks at Maya with her father's eyes, her mother's determination. I'm a paralegal intern, studying law. I know exactly how to use this evidence. Maya's breath catches. You want to expose him. I want the world to know what he did, to my father, to those pension fund families, to everyone. Sophie's voice is steel. Webb took everything from us. I want to take everything from him. She picks up her father's journals, holds them against her chest. Dr. Hernandez said you protected all this, that you could have sold it but didn't. Maya nods, uncertain. Why? Sophie asks. You're homeless, desperate. You could have taken the money and disappeared. Because it wasn't mine, Maya says simply. It was your father's love, and some things are worth protecting even when it costs you everything. Sophie looks at her for a long moment. Webb offered you money, didn't he, to give him the evidence? Maya freezes. How did you know? Because that's what men like him do. They buy silence. Sophie sets down the journals. How much? 100,000. And you said no? I haven't decided yet. Maya's voice is barely a whisper. I have until tonight. Sophie reaches out, takes Maya's hand. Then, let me make it easier. Help me expose Webb. Be my witness. Testify about finding the evidence, about my father's intent. Sophie, if we do this, your face will be everywhere. The media, the investigations, everything you've been running from. I know. Sophie's smile is sad but certain. But I'm tired of running, tired of being ashamed of a name I should be proud of. She looks around the storage unit. At 15 years of preserved love, my father sacrificed everything to protect me. The least I can do is honor his memory by finishing what he started. It won't be easy. Nothing worth doing ever is. Maya squeezes Sophie's hand, feeling something shift in the universe. Two women, both shaped by loss, both choosing truth over comfort. Okay, Maya says. Let's burn it all down. That evening, Marcus Webb calls Maya's phone exactly at 8 p.m. She's sitting in Unit 247 with Sophie, surrounded by boxes they've been cataloguing for the lawyers. Evidence sorted, labelled ready for war. Maya looks at Sophie before answering. Sophie nods. Mr. Webb, Maya says, putting the phone on speaker. Miss Torres, I trust you've made your decision. His voice is smooth, confident, a man who's never heard the word no. I have, and I died. Excellent. I'll have my assistant wire the funds tonight. Where should I send? I'm not giving you the evidence. Silence on the other end. Then, carefully controlled anger. I warned you about the consequences. I know, and I'm ready for them. Sophie leans toward the phone. Mr. Webb, this is Sophie Castellano, Thomas Castellano's daughter. The silence stretches longer this time. I have everything my father collected. Every document, every recorded call, every transaction log. Sophie's voice is steel wrapped in silk. And I'm filing civil suits against you and your firm for fraud, for damages, and for destroying my father's life. The statute doesn't apply to civil suits, especially when new evidence emerges. My lawyers are very interested in your offshore accounts from 2010. The ones you thought were buried. Webb's composure cracks. You can't prove anything. Actually, I can. Because my father spent 15 years documenting everything. He was always better at details than you gave him credit for. This is a mistake, Webb says, voice low and dangerous. I have resources. I have lawyers who will bury you. Then we'll dig ourselves out together. Sophie looks at Maya, and they both smile. See you in court, Mr. Webb. She ends the call. In the sudden quiet, Maya starts laughing. Relief, fear, exhaustion, all pouring out at once. Sophie joins her, and they sit on the concrete floor, among her father's carefully preserved love, laughing until they cry. You need somewhere to stay, Sophie says later, as they're locking up the unit. I'll figure something out. I have a second bedroom. Well, it's more of an office, but there's a futon. Sophie's voice is careful, offering without pressuring, just until you get on your feet. If you want. Maya thinks about her car, about the cold concrete she's been sleeping on, about the pride that's kept her isolated for 8 months. I can pay rent, she says, once I find work. Or you could work for me. I need someone to help organize the evidence, prepare documents, coordinate with lawyers. Sophie meets her eyes. I know you're not a paralegal, but you know this case better than anyone. You've read everything. You understand. Sophie, it's not charity, it's a job. $20 an hour, part-time while we build the case. When this goes to trial, I'll need someone who can testify about finding the storage unit. About my father's intent. Maya realizes Sophie isn't just offering help, she's offering purpose. Okay, Maya says, but I'm paying rent. Sophie laughs. Deal. They decide to keep Unit 247 as is, pay the monthly fee, maintain the climate control, preserve everything exactly as Thomas left it. It's not abandoned anymore, Sophie says, running her hand along the label that says Sophie's Things. It's history, our history. Maya helps her carry a few items to Sophie's car. The composition notebook where 6-year-old Sophie wrote about heaven. The moon nightlight that still works after 15 years. Elena's silk robe that still smells faintly of Chanel. But most of it stays. The cookware Thomas bought to make Elena smile. The photo albums documenting their happiness. The journals where he poured out his grief. Someday, Sophie says, when this is all over, maybe we turn it into something. A memorial, a museum. I don't know. But not yet. Not yet, Maya agrees. They stand in the doorway, looking at the preserved life inside. Thank you, Sophie says quietly. For protecting this. For seeing what it was worth when you had every reason not to. I saw what my mother would have wanted someone to do for her, Maya says. What I would have wanted someone to do for Lily. She pulls out the photograph she always carries. Lily at 9, standing in front of this building, 15 years ago. Sophie looks at the photo, then at Maya with understanding. Same year, same place. Same everything, Maya whispers. Cancer, medical bills, losing everything that mattered. But you're still here, Sophie says. Still fighting. So, are you. They close the storage unit door together. Lock it. Walk away side by side. Behind them, Unit 247 sits in darkness, but it's not lonely anymore, not abandoned. It's waiting, patient as preserved love, for whatever comes next. Sophie's apartment is small but warm. Real walls, real heat, a bathroom with hot water that doesn't run out after 3 minutes. Maya stands in the shower for 20 minutes, washing away 8 months of parking lot grime and borrowed gym facilities. When she emerges, Sophie has made up the futon with clean sheets, left towels folded on a chair, placed a glass of water on the small table. Small things, kind things, the things that matter. Maya lies down on the futon, stares at the ceiling of a room that isn't her car, feels the weight of purpose settling into her bones. Tomorrow, they'll start organizing the case. Tomorrow, they'll begin the fight to destroy what's left of Webb's empire. Tomorrow, the battle begins. But tonight, Maya is warm, dry, safe. And for the first time in 8 months, she's not alone. She pulls out her phone, opens the photos, finds Lily's picture. I did something right today, baby, she whispers to her daughter's face. I protected someone's love the way you taught me to protect yours. She sets the phone on the table beside the water glass. In the other room, Sophie is probably looking at her father's video again, learning to forgive, learning to remember love instead of anger. 2 women, both haunted by loss, both choosing to build something from the wreckage. Thomas had been right in his final video. Love doesn't die, it just waits. Waits for someone brave enough to protect it, someone strong enough to honor it, someone who understands that some things are worth more than survival. Maya closes her eyes and sleeps dreamlessly for the first time since Lily died. And when she wakes, there will be coffee and purpose and a fight worth having. But for now, there's just peace. Hard won, carefully protected, impossibly precious. Peace. 6 months later, Maya stands in front of Unit 247, keys in hand, the early morning light turning everything gold. She's not here to work today, just to visit. Inside, everything remains exactly as Thomas left it, preserved, protected, waiting. She runs her hand along the bin labelled Sophie's Things, thinking about the girl who became a woman, who became a fighter. The civil suits are moving forward. Slowly, the way justice always does, but moving. Webb's firm is bleeding clients. His son is facing depositions. The pension fund families are finally getting answers. Sophie's face has been in the papers. Daughter of exonerated whistleblower takes on financial giant. She wears her father's name like armor now, not shame. Maya testified last month. Stood in a courtroom and told the truth about finding the storage unit, about Thomas's intent, about love preserved in plastic bins and climate control. The judge had listened, really listened. Afterward, Sophie had hugged her in the courthouse hallway. We're winning, she'd whispered. Not won, not yet, but winning. Maya locks the unit, turns to leave, and sees Mr. Chen walking toward her with 2 cups of coffee. Thought I'd find you here, he says, handing her one. They stand together in comfortable silence, watching the facility wake up around them. Other people arriving to access their storage units, their preserved memories, their carefully protected pieces of life. You ever regret it? Mr. Chen asks. Not taking the easy money? Maya thinks about her apartment, small but hers. About her job helping Sophie fight for justice. About the community of people they're building, pension fund families, foster care advocates, others who've lost everything to men like Webb. She thinks about Lily's photograph, now framed on her nightstand, about Sophie's father's journals, now evidence that will change lives. About the choice she made on cold concrete with trembling hands and an empty stomach. No, she says simply, some things are worth more than survival. Mr. Chen nods, satisfied. Your daughter would be proud. Maya's eyes fill with tears, but she's smiling. Yeah, she would. They finish their coffee as the sun climbs higher, painting the aluminum walls the color of hope. Behind them, Unit 247 holds its secrets and its love, patient as always. But it's not waiting anymore. It's already home. What would you have chosen? Survival or truth? Comfort or justice? The hardest decisions are the ones that define us. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more stories about ordinary people making extraordinary choices.